Okay, this is sort of a neat place to take a video. It's just the edge of Thompson, and there's I think it's a Norseman, not a beaver. I think that's a Norseman up there. So they were the float planes that opened this area up in the, I guess, starting in the 1940s. And right across the river on the other side, you probably can't see it, that's the float plane base. There's some beavers and whatever they have on floats there this summer. Although pretty much for the last month, nobody's been flying due to the smoke from all the fires. And you can, I don't know, maybe you can sense it, it's really windy right now. 15 minutes ago there was no wind, so we got a frontal passage coming through. And 15 minutes ago the visibility in Thompson was about maybe an eighth of a mile. It was super low, and air quality pretty bad. I guess it doesn't bother me, but some people, you know, that have allergies, something that really bothers them. Anyway, a good place just for a video. So the news here, beginning of August. I guess Trump, he's like a local teenager, entitled teenager. He keeps putting out these these tweets in the middle of the night. And so the latest one he put out was a reply to something that Medvedev, the ex-president of Russia, said. And Trump got angry, and he said now he's deploying 2 more nuclear submarines to within striking range of Russia. So it's quite a foolish thing to say in the middle of the night for 2 reasons. One of them is you don't tell the other side what you're going to do, you know, and there's war games going on. The other reason is these submarines have, I think it's Trident ballistic missiles on them. So they're the nuclear tipped warheads. And so their goal would be to get within striking distance of Russia and then just sit on the bottom until they got the go codes to launch their missiles. And then they'd fire a low trajectory so that it couldn't get picked up by radar and hit Moscow with it. Now, the reason he deployed those was Medvedev said something about the Russian dead hand, beware the dead hand. And so you may not know what the dead hand is. I know what it is because I've, you know, studied a little bit about Russian military and every chance I get. But Trump, the guy with the suitcase with a football with the button for the nuclear missiles, he doesn't know what it is. He's the guy that should know what it is. So the Russians, just like that movie in the 60s that came out with Peter Sellers, in that movie, the Russians had created what was called a doomsday device. And the doomsday device said that if any nuclear weapons went off in Russia, that would automatically launch everything they had at the U.S. So Russia has got one of those. It's called a dead hand. And it's made up of different inputs, one of them being seismic. So if, for example, if Moscow was taken out with a nuclear weapon and Putin himself couldn't push his button to launch the missiles, all these seismic events would trigger the launch of this rocket somewhere in Russia. And Russia takes into 11 time zones, and it would fly across the country sending signals to every missile in the country telling it to launch. So that's what the dead hand is. And it's only if Moscow has been struck first would the dead hand get activated. So Trump heard this dead hand and immediately thought that Medvedev was talking about attacking the U.S. And so he sent these 2 more nuclear subs to within range of Russia. So, pretty stupid. The other thing we've been seeing a lot of, which I'm finding out more people I talk to, they don't know about it. There's some videos on the internet. There's an interesting interview with this lady. It's about a 20-minute interview. And you search on YouTube, Trump 13-year-old rape. You'll see this lady, blonde lady, getting interviewed. She's not being paid for the interview, but she described she was taken into this, recruited by Epstein when she was 13. And the first party that she went to, Trump was there at Epstein's place. And she had worn this blonde wig that made her look like, they gave her the wig, made her look like Trump's daughter, who was also 13, Ivanka. And he said, I want her because she looks just like my 13-year-old daughter. So he knew she was 13 and told her. And he got her to give him a hand job. So then the second party he attended again, and that one he got her to give him a blowjob. And then the third party he was at, he knew she was a virgin. Trump liked the girls that were fresh, and he raped her quite violently in front of the other girl there. Told them both shut up or he'd get rid of them both. And so you had to see the interview. And then she didn't go ahead with prosecution. She had come out about this, but she was threatened. So she didn't go ahead with the prosecution. And there's an author who wrote a book about Trump, and for a lot of his book he spent a huge amount of time with Epstein researching the two of them. And he said at one point when Trump had gotten Marla Maples pregnant, he asked Epstein, if I wanted to get rid of my wife, how would I do it? What would be the best way to do it? And he said, well, push her down the stairs. Well, several years later, Trump's first wife fell down the stairs and died. Now, how many people have you ever heard of that fall downstairs and die? And then Epstein, who broke his neck in his own jail cell, the window is only 5 feet, like 5 feet off the ground, and then the bars start in the window. So how is it possible that you can break your neck? Let's say you tie a sheet around the bars and tie the other end around your neck. So now if release the weight off your feet, I mean, your ass is only going to be 2 feet off the ground, so how the hell do you break your neck? So I think Trump killed his first wife. He killed Epstein, and he doesn't want all this stuff out. So everything you see in the news every day, it's all a smokescreen to deflect, so people forget about the Epstein tapes and the Epstein list and all the Epstein files, because he's in there knee deep. So it's just some food for thought, nothing proven, but it's just my own feelings. Anyway, here it is, August. I don't think the smoke's going to stop in Thompson just because this little bit of wind is blowing through, because the wind will die down as soon as the front goes through. Tomorrow will probably be smoky again. We're going to need a lot of rain, like a few days of rain to clear things up. And anyway, it's a little easier to breathe here. this evening than it was an hour ago.